Before you update your resume, before you start applying for another job, I want you to ask yourself one question. Do you really want another job? Do you really? Or do you just want your life back? See, in this video, I'm going to show you why so many people over 50 are questioning the life they have worked so hard to build. I'm going to share the biggest mistake I almost made and why going back to another job wasn't actually the answer that I was looking for. So listen, stick with me because this conversation might change the decision you make next. And towards the end, I'm going to tell you about one realization that completely changed how I looked at work. It wasn't about making more money. Be very clear on that. It was about understanding what I was really chasing all those years. If we haven't met yet, my name is Tim. I spent the last 25 years of building my career at a company called Best Buy. It's a big box retailer in the United States. I started in the warehouse. I worked logistics. I created and led teams. I managed stores, and I didn't even have a college degree. I was just someone who believed that if I worked really hard enough, eventually I'd have the freedom I was working for. But somewhere down along the way, I realized something. I was spending so much time making a living that I wasn't really living. When the opportunity came to go back to another job after being laid off from that 25-year career at the age of 55, I had to ask myself, do I really want more of the same stuff? Before we dive in, I put together something called the blueprint process. It's completely free. It's the exact framework and mindset that helped me start creating the income online and begin thinking differently about my future. If you're wondering where to start, you can grab it using the link below in the description right down below. Now let's jump in. Here's something I noticed after I lost my job, after I got laid off after 25 years at the age of 55. Most people my age aren't afraid to work. We're not afraid of hard work. We've worked hard our entire lives. I grew up on a farm. I know what work is. We know what it means to show up early, stay late, figure things out, miss our breaks, miss our lunches, take responsibility. That's never been the problem with our generation. The problem is that we're working harder than we ever have. And somehow it feels like we have less freedom than we did 20 years ago. Eventually you start asking yourself, when does all this hard work actually become my life? I think something changed over the last several years. People stopped believing the old promises. Work hard, go to school, get good grades, stay loyal. Everything will work out. Then the layoffs started. Companies reorganized. People who gave decades to one company suddenly found themselves replaced. And a lot of good people realized maybe putting your entire future in someone else's hands isn't as safe as we thought. See, that's not fear talking. That's today's reality. When people hear my story, they usually think I left because I wanted more money. No, they laid me off. Basically, they fired my butt. Money matters. Of course it does. But honestly, what I really wanted was control. I wanted control over my mornings. I wanted control over my personal schedule, control over whether I could take my wife on a lunch in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon, control over spending more time with my kids and doing the things I wanted with them, control over taking trips without asking someone else for permission. Can I take 2 weeks off? And them making you feel bad for asking. See, that's not freedom. Not doing nothing, doing more of what matters. I'll be honest. When I first heard people talking about making more money online, I had no clue what they were talking about. I didn't understand it. I thought that was for the younger generation, younger people. They grew up on technology. I have zero tech skills and I don't want to know. They knew things I'll never know. But then I started paying attention, and I did. Here's the crazy thing. I saw teachers building businesses online. I saw regular mom and dads, parents, retired people, former managers, regular people just like you and me, that worked our asses off all our lives. They weren't successful because they were famous. They weren't being successful online because they learned a new skill. See, here's the key. I really believe this is one of the most important things. See, I realized maybe I wasn't too late. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right direction. Here's where I think a lot of people get stuck. The moment life gets uncomfortable, they immediately start looking for another job, oof, another paycheck, another company, another boss to tell you what to do. But what if instead of asking, where can I get work next? You ask yourself, what can I build next? That one question changes everything because now you're thinking like an owner instead of someone waiting for permission. One of the things I love most about helping people over 45 is this one thing. Most people don't realize how valuable they already are. You spent decades learning, leading, communicating, serving others, handling pressure, building relationships, building teams. First of all, those aren't just experiences. Those are valuable skills. See, the internet didn't erase those skills. It made them even more valuable. See, you just need to learn how to package what you already know in today's world. Remember the realization I told you that I would share with you? Here it is. See, I stopped asking, where can I find another job after being laid off? And I started asking, what kind of life do I actually want? I want to go golfing every day. I want to date my wife. Because once I was clear on what life I wanted, building the business became much easier. I didn't build an online business to escape work. I'm okay with working my butt off. I build it so work fits into my life instead of my life fitting around my work. That's a complete different way to live. So if you're sitting here and you're listening to this video, thinking about sending out another resume, I'm not telling you not to. I'm simply asking you to give yourself permission to consider there might be another path, like one that gives you more time, more flexibility, and more control over your future. If you'd like to see the same blueprint process that helped me make that shift, click the link below and grab it for free. It's in the description. And if you're serious about surrounding yourself with people who are building something different, just like I am, I'd love to welcome you into the community. But before you go, leave me a comment. If you suddenly had complete control over your time, what would you spend it doing? I'd love to read your answers. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.